Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
All right, so this guy is somebody I want to pick his brain for a few things. First of all, anyone that has a public relations group, I'm always interested in that because of certain things. When I deal with thousands of PR agents since I started in radio 7 years ago, but also he's an author of something that I never want to have to, I guess I need to protect it. So I'm excited to welcome the program author John P. David, author of How to Protect or Destroy Your Reputation Online. John, thanks for calling.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
Great.
John. And now, is this the first time you have been at the Miami Book Fair?
My first time as an author, absolutely. It was here actually yesterday on the Writers Row, and talking to lots of folks and presenting my book in about 45 minutes to officially. So it's great.
No, that's fantastic, John. And a little bit about your background. I know my co-hosts have a lot of interesting questions, so you're like on a panel. And this is just a topic for sure, but your background, I kind of mentioned you are the president of David PR Group, but tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. I've been in the public relations business for more than 25 years and doing, traditional communications consulting, everything from writing news releases and newsletters to pitching media stories. And my clients have appeared in everything from the local newspaper and the local radio station to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, nightly news, all those things. And a couple of years ago, I started to get calls from clients who had different types of online issues, and the more I studied it, the more fascinated I became, and I've kind of one thing led to another, and I built up some expertise, and then decided to write a book about it.
Wow, and you see with your clients that you've worked with that at times they needed to kind of clean up what they were doing online, right? At times,
yeah,
it happens. Yeah,
things happen. I think that what really sort of drove me into this industry was that people sometimes get attacked online. And that was really the first major case I worked on was a situation where one of my clients was being kind of attacked online by what I would call a rogue blogger, and so we worked on that assignment, and it really got me to thinking about how something we all know, anyone can say anything online, and it seems like we can do it these days with impunity. But most people don't really know what to do, and every day we become more vulnerable. There's more technology and there's more things out there, and so we really have to pay attention to our online reputation, and then we also have to know what to do if something happens.
Interesting. Peter, question for John.
Yeah. So my first question is with the experience you've had with different clients, like what has been the most notable thing, that has been for attacks? Like what has been the majority of the issues that you've been handling with clients?
Well, I think there's a couple of them. I think from a business perspective, I think that most companies really need to pay close attention to their online reputation, and they have to look at I get lots of questions about online reviews, and also just overall vulnerabilities, and also exposure that CEOs have and how they can protect themselves. That's a big one. And then on the sort of the personal side, the individual side, some of the things I've seen, there's people create hate blogs, and one that I was dealing with a client was a guy had a bad breakup with his girlfriend, and she started blogging about it, and she did it for like more than a year, even a year after they broke up, and even after her therapist told her to stop doing it, she was just like relentlessly attacking this guy online. And really what it was a failed relationship, which happens to everyone, but this guy was dealing with incredible online issue just because he had essentially a bad relationship, and it was really tough.
Bummer. I mean, I appreciate the knowledge, and I thank you for, helping out so many clients, so many people, because, for those of us who aren't, knowledgeable in this, you can come in and help, and that makes a great deal of difference to, both clients, regular people and CEOs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things was that one of the reasons that I wrote the book, How to Protect or Destroy Your Reputation Online, was because of this growing vulnerability online at all levels. From people are being Googled and their search results are being checked from a young age. I mean, starting from when you're getting ready to go to college. 40% of college recruiters are looking at search results and social media feeds of applicants. So this is high school kids who are going to college. They need to check their online reputation. Same thing goes for folks who, when they're trying to get a job, that corporate recruiters, human resources people, all those folks, they're looking at your search results, and in a large percentage of the time, they're looking for reasons not to hire you. Like the research says, they're looking for reasons not to pick you. And then once you have your job or once you have your business, then you have to realize that your customers are looking at you online, and they're influenced by what they see when they search for you.
Gotcha. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, John, I think this is really relevant in our times. There's a lot of just celebrities, all the way down to, like you said, high school kids having issues with these types of things. This topic has always really interested me. Do you feel in your research and writing the book and doing all of this, in your field, that the legal system has caught up? Or are we still kind of battling, some old antiquated laws to kind of combat this?
Well, I'm not sure if I completely agree with that. I mean, I think that the marketplace is correcting, slowly correcting. I mean, for example, Google came out last year with a whole protocol to deal with revenge porn, for example. But the reason that we have these types of online problems in the United States, and it's different in the rest of the world, is because of our Constitution and because of the First Amendment and the freedom of speech, and so that's really the crux of it. And so unless we decide we're going to change the First Amendment, we're still going to have these types of issues. And then the other thing is, from a legal standpoint, the laws. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really get into the dig in too deep on it, but the laws to prove defamation, from what I'm told, are very high. The bar is very high to prove defamation, and so you have a lot of folks out there who can say lots of things about individuals and about businesses, and there's not a lot of legal recourse. There's not a lot of legal recourse there.
Thank you, Neil. Did you have a question?
How expensive is it to get yourself removed off of online bad reputations? Well, there's these certain organizations out there that'll do it for you, and you see the commercials on the radio and stuff like that. How difficult is it to get that removed? And the people with more money probably have bad reputations but get them removed.
Well, there's different things that you can do, and I actually explain a lot of these in my book. So that's one way, is if you can educate yourself, and there's some things you can do yourself. What I've found is that every online reputation issue is a little bit different. In some cases, you can get things taken down. In some cases, it's better to try to push them down. They call that suppression, and those are probably the ads you may have heard on the radio where you try to push down or bury the negative. And then there's also some folks out there who, that we work with, who really understand how the internet works, and they can get things taken down or deleted or removed from search results, but it can get expensive. It can be, sometimes it's a 5-figure problem, that you have. And unfortunately, everyone doesn't necessarily have the budget to do that. But in my book, How to Protect or Destroy Your Reputation Online, I explain a lot of the different tactics that you can take and to try to fix some of these things yourself.
Gotcha. So here's a curious question for you. What is your experience with social media online besides just basic websites and blogs? Have you dealt with that with your clients, and what network do you primarily work with where people are either looking to protect or delete the certain content that they're wanting to get rid of?
Well, I think that everyone has their favorite. Is what I've noticed. Some people are more prolific on Facebook or more prolific on Twitter. The good thing about the social media sites is that you can control that content. Now, obviously, if you post something, inane, if you post something ridiculous or you post something that's mean or defamatory, you can have a problem. But you can also take things down. Now, obviously, once it's been stated, it doesn't really disappear. We've seen these instances where people, tweet something and then it goes viral and they delete it from their Twitter account, but the damage is already done. I think that mainly, you have to just really think about, what you're going to post and think about the long-term, implications of it. And I actually just wrote a blog post the last week, which got some good attention about how we really need to look at our social media posts for the past couple of 3 weeks, since before and after Election Day, because I think a lot of people may have said things that they're going to regret. And I'm advising everybody that I know to go back, look through your social media feeds for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and delete away, man. If you said something kind of ridiculous about the election, let's get rid of it for now.
Great advice. Great advice. Definitely great advice. And I think it's something that we need. That I would be concerned, and I know Eric has a question, but I'll do this a follow-up. I just wanted to jump in and say it's great advice because I am seeing it firsthand now. And guess what? We're coming back again, John, with the whole situation with the theater in New York, with Hamilton. People are making the wrong decisions again that are in the theater business or different things, and they're making these comments, and it's going to come back to haunt them if they don't delete it. Am I right? In certain ways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. Prior to this election, if you would have, if we go back, let's go back 2 full years, right, before Trump was running, right? And you did a poll of people and they would say, well, what should you not talk about on social media? They would all say politics, right? But we were all sucked in, and because it was so emotional for so many people, and there was so much fodder, right? There's so many things to comment on. And so where we are now is that everyone is still kind of carrying this residual effect of the election, and does it really pay to chime in on what happened in New York in the theater? I mean, that's I have my own personal opinion about it, but it doesn't to jump into that battle is a mistake.
No, it is definitely.
So the reality is that no matter who you chose, who you voted for, 47 plus or minus % of the country voted for the other person. So that means if you post something online about the election, about Hillary Clinton or about Trump or about winning or about losing or whatever, 47% of the people out there, disagreed with you, okay? And that means that's 47% of your employees, that's 40% of your employers, that's 47% of your customers. Think about that. I mean, should you be out there, saying something, vitriolic if you own a business when you realize that 47% of your customers voted for the other person? So, and notice that I didn't say who I voted for, by the way.
I would never say it either. I'm not stupid. I've learned my lesson. And Eric, I told you, I used to be so into education talk that would go political. I am completely getting off of that track for the rest of my life. It's no longer, we're going to talk about how we're going to change education, but not politically. We're going to change it one student at a time. That's my new saying. And so I don't have to hire John to fix my reputation when I make a boo-boo and say the wrong thing.
John, I tell you what, I'm going to share the download link to all of my Facebook friends for your book, because there's a lot of people that need to go through and filter what they've said in the last 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting times, and listen, I think that's the big, that's my big message. Just a simple practical thing right now is let's look back for the past couple of weeks. I think everybody needs to regularly check their online reputation. You need to check your search results. You need to be engaged online. I wrote a part of my book, how to protect or destroy your reputation online, that you don't get to be off the grid. There's folks who say, "Oh, I don't participate in any of that stuff," and that's a mistake, because then you're letting, you're letting the internet take control of your identity online. So you have to engage, you have to be involved, and the same is true for businesses. Businesses have to be involved online. They have to look at online review sites. They're here to stay, even if you don't like them. So there's a lot that has to be done, from a personal and a professional perspective when it comes to your online reputation.
Okay, where's the best place we can purchase your book and learn more about you? We could chat longer, for sure, because this is the Pick Your Brain's a great way to think about it. But I think that we need to share this with as many people as possible, because I had a co-host, and this is the last point I want to make. I don't know. I just came up with this point, and he called me a racist, homophobe, xenophobe because I am part of the Republican Party, and said this straight out on my radio show and literally attacked me. That's why I won't go on anything anymore involving politics, because that's just, again, to paint everyone with a certain brush is scary. And this is not what we need to do. And it will hurt everyone's reputation that says things controversial, which I am one of the most controversial people in the world when it comes to education. But when it comes to anything else, it's not that. It's education. I'm passionate. But we let our passions get away from us. So everyone needs to pick up your book right now, John. So where can we get it?
That's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah, the book is called How to Protect or Destroy Your Reputation Online. It's available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com and IndieBooks.com, and also in Barnes & Noble stores and independent bookstores everywhere, all around the U.S. So you should be able to find a copy if you go look. And my name is John P. David. My Twitter feed is at John P. David. I'm very easy to find online, as you might guess. So it would be great if anyone wants to pick up a copy, they can get it any number of ways.
All right, John. Thanks for calling, and take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, bye-bye. You're listening to Author's Corner, powered by Life Improvement Radio, live from the Miami Book Fair, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.